Hey, and what is going on, y'all? It's Scion Life back here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about budget track builds. I'm going to be giving you a list of budget track builds that are relatively cheap to both buy the car and to build the engine. So if you're looking into getting a track toy but you are on a relatively tight budget, this is the video for you. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment down below, and let me know what your dream track build would be. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with the video. Alright, so the first car on this list is the 6th generation of the Honda Civic, which is the EK generation. This car came with a B16 motor, and it also had double wishbone suspension, which at the time during the late 90s and in the year 2000, which was the last year of production, this was very advanced technology. And combined with the advanced Honda front-wheel drive in this car, it makes it a serious threat on a track. And although this car only makes 106 horsepower, it also only weighs 2,200 pounds. And you combine that with a manual transmission, and this car can be a lot of fun. These cars, you can find them for under 10 grand nowadays. They usually hover around the 6 to 7 grand mark for decently kept models. And of course, if you're going to be using this as a track toy, you don't want a pristine EK Civic anyways. And of course, in this EK generation of the Civic is really when they perfected the B Series engines. Because while they had a B Series engine in the 5th generation of the Civic, which is the EG, this generation really got it going. It really made a mark with the B Series motor. And this motor is also very tunable. You can make upwards of 500 horsepower and keep it within the $10,000 range. This is a very budget-friendly car, and if you just dump a couple thousand in mods into this car, it will be a serious track weapon. Now, I think that this car also looks very well, and it just looks like it belongs on the track once you get it out there. The front-wheel drive in this car and the double wishbone suspension give it excellent handling, especially for a car from the late 90s. And of course, with the right tire setup on this car, it will corner like it's on rails. This Honda Civic, in my opinion, is one of the best generations that Honda ever produced. It came with the B Series engine and a great suspension, and this is why it would be an excellent budget-friendly track day toy. And the second car on this list is a bit more of a traditional track day weapon. This car is the W20 generation of the MR2, preferably the hardtop generation due to the advanced visibility over the Spider. You can get this car in either a naturally aspirated 3S GE motor, or you can opt for the 3S GTE turbo model. Now, the turbo model, of course, is a little bit pricier and a bit more expensive, but in my opinion, it is a lot more worth it over the naturally aspirated model due to the fact that the turbo engine has a lot more buildability. You already have boost in the engine, it's already tuned to run forced induction, and this is very helpful whenever you want to actually build the car. Now, this car's suspension is absolutely amazing. It is unmatched. Now, there is a problem with the SW20 MR2 with snap oversteer, and if you are not a very experienced driver, this can be a serious issue and you will spin out a lot. But once you learn to handle the MR2 and you understand the characteristics of the suspension, the mid-engine design, and the front to back weight balance, this is a serious threat on the track. And the fact that you could build these cars for under 15 grand or so, it's actually amazing. Because with the right parts, this car is essentially a 90s supercar that you can get for under 15 grand. So the very tunable engine combined with the well-balanced suspension makes this car a track day weapon like no other. And now this next car is a bit pricier than the previous two cars. You can find these for a little bit under 30 grand, and it is the 996 generation of the Porsche 911. And this car is hated for all the wrong reasons. First of all, this was the first generation of the water-cooled engines in the Porsches, and a lot of people did not like that. And you combine that with the runny egg headlight design, and people just do not pick these up, and they are not valued what they are actually worth. So this car is a Porsche. Of course, it's going to handle. The suspension is going to be perfectly tuned for track day driving. The engine will also be very tunable, and since it is a very old car, it's about 15 to 20 years old at this point, there are a lot of aftermarket support for this engine. And this is very helpful if you want to source parts for this generation of Porsche 911 to keep up with newer 911s and newer Caymans. And we all know that there are not many cars out there that can actually compete with Porsches, specifically the 911s. And the fact that you can pick one of these up for under 30 grand for a new-ish 911 is a great deal, and this would be the ultimate budget track car. And the fourth car on this list is probably the most budget-friendly car. It is the Dodge Neon, and you can find these for somewhere around the 3 to 5 grand mark. And a lot of people hype up the SRT4 with the Neon, but you do not have to get the SRT4. You can get any of the 3 models. It comes in a 1.8 liter, 2 liter, and a 2.4 liter inline 4. And the 2.4 liter, of course, is for the SRT4 model. But all 3 of these engines have similar compression ratios and have the same bore. They have 87.5 millimeters of bore. And so, although the base model does not make the 245 horsepower that the SRT4 model does, the 115 horsepower benchmark will be plenty to start off with this Dodge Neon track car. And this car's suspension is something else. Even in the base model Neon, it is comparable to a front-wheel drive Miata. Seriously, it is that good. And while this is the cheapest track toy that you could buy on this list, and is also the cheapest to tune, it is also arguably the least reliable. Now, Dodge does come out with pretty reliable cars year after year, and the Neon was fairly reliable, but it does run into some issues, especially with overheating when you get out on the track for a long time. So I would suggest investing seriously in some cooling and maybe building the heads, since they are just made of aluminum. And now the fifth and final car on this list is really something special. It is the BMW One Series from 2008 until 2013. And right now, as I'm making this video, you can find these cars for 10 grand or less. And the fact that you would only need to throw in a couple thousand worth of mods into this car to make it essentially a 1M is actually ridiculous, because you can just buy a 1 Series, throw $2,000 to $5,000 of mods into it, and come out a fifth of the price of a BMW M1, which is arguably one of the greatest track toys that BMW has ever produced, and that is something special. This car comes with the 1M suspension, and it also comes with the 1M engine. So the engine is very tunable, and although it's not quite as durable as other BMW engines in the past and that came after it, it is still a great engine to build. It comes with twin turbos, of course. You can turn up the boost on these as long as you keep a regular check on the engine and make sure that they do not start knocking. But I definitely saved the best for last with this BMW One Series, because there is not another car on this list that will handle quite like this one, and especially not for this price point. So if you're currently out there looking for a budget-friendly track car, I hope I was able to help a bit in narrowing down your search and maybe even giving you some new options. But as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, and if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing and following along for more content like this. But for now, this is Scion Life, signing out.